You guys, nobody told me it was gonna be a JOXER episode! If it has been a long time since I have managed to make the time to watch an episode and make a video, and you, gentle viewer, happen to know that JOXER is in the next episode, please, seriously, tell me! JOXER. Like a lot of these episodes, this is one that I remember watching like 15 years ago or whatever, and I gotta say, totally still awesome. The setup for the episode is Xena is out somewhere helping some king that we never see, and it doesn't matter because this week it's actually not about Xena. This week is about Gabrielle, and Gabrielle very soon comes across JOXER, who is, you know, just in the woods, being JOXER, doing JOXER things. And JOXER, being his typical, over-the-top, absurd, wonderful self, you know, is very generous and offers Gabrielle the opportunity to become his sidekick while Xena is away. Side note, does anybody remember that amazing Chuck Norris film Sidekicks? I think I watched that film like 15 times, round about the same period. Maybe there was like a theme in my life. Now, all of this seems pretty standard fare so far, except then we flash into a scene of Aphrodite, everyone's favorite ridiculous love god. But actually, she's not the most ridiculous love god because, oh god, this I'd forgotten, we have Karl Urban back, no longer Caesar, but now Cupid, and we know he's different because he's got bleached blonde hair now and more bronzer or tanner. I don't even know what has happened, but this dude looks like he sat for like 12 hours in a tanning booth. And it's really weird because he spends most of his time shirtless, and so we can really see all of the tanning slash bronzer. And basically, I just keep seeing him in Star Trek, and all of a sudden it's Bones, and I just want to say, Bones, honey, what did you do? No, don't do, no. Anyway, plot actually happens in this part, so I probably should have paid better attention than I did, but I figured it out eventually. Basically, there's this prince and this princess that are totes in love, and they're gonna get married, and it's gonna be great. Except as soon as they do get married, for some inexplicable reason, both of their kingdoms will start like tearing down Aphrodite temples, and Aphrodite is not gonna be having any of this. She pretty quickly decides if she can break up the marriage, that will prevent these kingdoms from tearing down her temples. I don't really understand the like cause-effect breakdown here, but you know, whatever, she's a god, I guess she knows better. And because reasons, Aphrodite decides to use JOXER as the instrument of her will in this situation. She basically puts a spell on him that anytime he hears a bell ring, he's going to transform from sweet, adorable, wonderful JOXER into like suave, sophisticated, swashbuckling JOXER. And this will drive all the ladies wild. Aphrodite finds JOXER, she gives him the bell, and sets him off in his merry way. Meanwhile, Gabrielle has likewise been on her own merry way and finds a bunch of brigands who are attacking some ladies and like a couple of sheds. Like, I'm not entirely sure where they're supposed to be. But Gabrielle fights off the brigands and she's doing okay. And then all of a sudden, backflipping Mega JOXER comes in and starts beating everyone and being ridiculously suave and amazing. And all of the ladies are swooning. But I need to make it clear that the most important part of this sequence is not the previously undiscovered daring do that JOXER possesses. It is not even the fact that he rips off his trademark armor and reveals a new piratical ensemble. No. The most amazing thing that happens in this sequence is that we start to hear the JOXER theme music. And this is not exactly how you dance to the JOXER theme music. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I can't even tell you how much I love JOXER's theme song. JOXER the mighty, he's very tidy, with Gabby as a sidekick, fighting with her little stick, writing rhymes and singing songs, being mighty all day long. JOXER, JOXER the mighty, JOXER, JOXER the mighty. I'm sorry, I really love it. Anyway, so JOXER has his theme song, and I am really ridiculously pleased about this. But unfortunately, super suave Mega JOXER ends up instantly sweeping the princess off of her feet. Now, this is not good because this princess is actually legitimately in love with the dude she's supposed to marry. And nobody knows exactly what's going on. Gabrielle is mostly deeply, deeply confused. And as soon as a bell rings and JOXER goes back to sweet, lovable, normal JOXER, the princess is kind of like, because she's not actually in love with him. She's in love with her prince. And JOXER has no memory of what he does while he's under, like, the Mega JOXER spell. And now the prince and the princess do actually meet up again, and everything seems like they're finally gonna get married and everything is gonna be awesome! And then a bell rings, and it ends up that JOXER runs away with the princess, and Gabrielle has to come along as the world's most awkward third wheel. With Gabby as a sidekick, fighting with her little stick. It sticks in your head. Now, of course, the kings, the dads of the prince and princess, are not exactly pleased with how events have gone down. And while the prince is kind of like, dude, you know, whatever, like, this happened, she clearly loves him, and while I'm not okay with that, just, you know, whatever. His dad is like, and now we will send an entire army out to kill JOXER. And of course, as soon as the army arrives and Mega JOXER is ready to fight them off single-handed, yeah, bell rings. We get regular JOXER again, and I think he faints. He pretty much faints. Now, they're all three of them apprehended, and the princess is, you know, left to pretty much her own devices. But JOXER is tied up, and Gabrielle is stuck in a shed, and apparently this is the equivalent of jail in this town. And we do not question, we merely go with this. Because Gabrielle, as we know, is the legitimate best. And so she is trying again to get to the bottom of what on earth is going on here, because she's figured out this whole bell connection. And then she gets out of JOXER that he met Aphrodite. She puts the pieces together and manages an amazing escape while JOXER is left singing his song alone in the woodshed. Gabrielle does manage to track down Aphrodite in her temple, as well as the incredibly bronzed Karl Urban, and kind of figures out what's going on, enough that she knows Aphrodite's done this, and if she could just get Aphrodite to take it off, everything could go back to normal. But unfortunately, Aphrodite is being very stubborn, and even though she doesn't exactly explain this whole temple situation, she explains enough to say that no, she will not be changing her mind, no. Of course, this being a happy episode, we all know that everything is going to work out just fine, even though the next scene involves JOXER actually being taken to the executioner's block and pretty much ready to be killed at any second. Luckily, as we know, Gabrielle is the best, and she manages to find a bell and ring it in time for him to escape from the executioners. Further demonstrating her power of being the best, Gabrielle manages to move the fight into Aphrodite's temple. Once inside, all of the chaos and the havoc manage to wreck the inside of the temple pretty thoroughly, enough to eventually convince Aphrodite, fine, she'll take off the spell. So JOXER goes back to normal, and everyone's really happy about this, and the prince and the princess get married, and everything is great, and then JOXER starts feeling sad, and there's pretty much nothing in the world as sad as JOXER being sad. Now, luckily, Xena comes back in time to give him a fantastic pep talk, and it's very sweet and lovely, particularly because she's able to say all these lovely things to him, and then she turns around and she's all gruff and stern and, I don't know, I turned to him, I'm Xena, brr. But we know the truth. JOXER is cheered, and so the episode can end with the most glorious male chorus version of the JOXER the Mighty theme song, leaving it stuck in our heads for a good 48 hours after the episode ends. Yes, I do know this from experience. Thank you for asking. JOXER the Mighty! JOXER the Mighty! It's never gonna go away.